Hey everybody, I hope y'all are doing well. It's Joe with Bumbling Acres, and I was just thinking on my drive home. We've had some new subscribers to the channel, and I want to thank you all for being a part of our channel and a part of our journey and the sharing in our experiences as we go about homesteading. You'll notice if you go through the channel, there's a number of videos with me driving. I'm not operating the first mobile homestead, I promise. As many of you, if you're first getting into homesteading like we were and are, we've had our property for, it'll be a year in the next 2 months. I believe it's in April where we took possession of our property. We put the offer in February, and it took 2 months to get everything done for the closing of it and everything. But the reason I think it's important is because this is part of our homesteading journey. I work a corporate job. I do that so that I can afford to homestead. There's a part of homesteading, which is homesteading community, which can appear very idealistic. That all we do is we go out and we sit in nature and we drop seeds in the ground, and magically everything just works. And suddenly we go from having very little / no experience in what we're doing, and the idea being that Mother Nature will suddenly reward us because we're doing what's right. And while we certainly are doing what a responsible steward of the earth and what a responsible member of the human race should do, we are taking on the responsibility of cultivating our own food, our own life, and a life that is the product of our hands, of our labor. It's not the product of some magic building we go to and suddenly that's what our food is. Our food just comes from a magic corridor, and we just reach in and suddenly we get to partake. That's not natural. So homesteading to us and to me is about the relationship we have with the earth, with our property, homesteading within our greater community, providing from the excess of that which we produce, we provide to those around us, and partly being it is to cultivate and make a living. That's the goal. I work a private job, a corporate job that I am blessed with the fact that I can work one job and that I can provide for my family. I do want to say for all those who are looking at getting into homesteading, if you are going to do it, you need to have the finances set up to do so. I'll always remember Joel Salatin talking about the fact that when he went farming full time, he had a year of income in the bank. And he'll talk about it and say that wasn't enough. That's not enough to really make it as a homesteader. But he had a year in the bank where he did not have to work for a year. He was able to commit completely to learning, cultivating, and he had a background in farming from his father, so they had an advantage in that. They already had a familiarity with what they were doing. I did not grow up in a farm area. I have never, before I moved out here, and never raised animals of my own. I was familiar with gardening via my grandfather, who was of the older generation, who had a victory garden, had served in World War II, and lived through the Depression. He was somebody who understood the importance of being able to sustain for yourself. But I had no direct experience with how to do almost anything that has been asked of me in the last year. So, everyone, I think it's important that we, as homesteaders, recognize that this is not, that your divine calling, your inspirational approach to homesteading will not make up for the fact of hard work. You better be willing to, I get done, I work a long day. Now the days are getting longer, so when I get home, I go to work on the property. On the weekends, I don't get my weekends off. I get to work 10 to 12 hour days around my property. My animals require my upkeep. They require my care. I have to do these things. A responsible homesteader is a giver of their time to their homestead and their animals and their garden and their property and their family. Like all of these things you have to do as a homesteader. Homesteading isn't some divine appointment where suddenly you sit on the ground and the world just sprouts in happiness around you. Mother Nature is fickle. Mother Nature is difficult. Now, I will say this, Mother Nature deals in abundance. That's the beautiful thing. We raised 18 meat birds, and they're still, we eat our chicken. It's the best chicken we've ever eaten, we've ever consumed, and it is wonderful. And, it was work to raise those animals, but the draw, the reward, being able to eat your labor is an incredible thing. So, I think it's important when you go into homesteading that you also count the cost, that you look at, okay, what do I want to do? What can I do? What does my property allow me to do? We are on a little more than 4 acres. So 4 1/8 of an acre. We don't have enough acreage where we could have a full gauntlet of cattle. We don't have enough property where we could raise our own hay, our own grass. We don't have enough property for that. So we know that in order to homestead, we're going to have inputs, and we're going to have to either barter for them through the goods we produce, or we're going to have to pay for them. And, money is the number one thing that couples fight about. It's the number one reason people get divorced. And it does not, the need for you to be on financial secure footing doesn't change because you have honorable intent. Your partner and your family deserve to go into this with open eyes. And they deserve for you to have counted the cost and go, financially, this is how much we can afford to invest. This is the time we can afford to invest. Deborah and I, once again, blessed with my income. Deborah is a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home homesteader. Our son Gage is about to turn 17. So, at this point, she's able to commit a lot of time at home to the homestead. We are pregnant. We are 13 weeks as of last Friday. There's 14 weeks next Friday. The reality of how our life is going to change towards the end of this year is something that has to be taken into account. My time. I will no longer be able to spend 10 to 12 hours every weekend, day, Saturday and Sunday, when I have a small child that I need to be a responsible father for, and I need to be spending time with, and I need to be spending time with my wife. My son, Gage, I still need to spend time with him. I don't get to ignore my family for a good cause. I don't get to neglect my family for good reasons. So if you are going to be homesteading, count the cost. Talk with your family. Talk with your partner. Talk with your loved ones about what are you going to do. When you get into something, realize, the irony and kind of the funny thing is, they're talking about chicken math, where you start, I'm just going to get a couple chickens. Next thing you know, you got 30. Like, that happens. That needs to be something you factor in. How much can I afford to spend on feed? You've got to feed your animals. How much can I? We're looking, we would really like to get pigs before the end of this year. I don't have the paddock set up for pigs. It would be irresponsible for me to get pigs without a responsible setup for them where they can be healthy, they can be nourished, and they can live their best life. I don't want to raise animals and have them have a neglectful existence. That's a reality. Those are all questions as a homesteader you have to do, and you have to be willing to make the personal sacrifices you have to make for it. You have to have talked to your family about whether you have that right to make that. My wife fully supports the amount of time that it takes for me to work and homestead. She doesn't feel neglected by the fact that our weekends are not spent spending time together as a unit. We are open with each other about what do we expect of each other. We go into these challenges of raising chickens and raising pigs, raising rabbits, raising our garden. We go into that having spoken and being on the same page, so that when the trials come, when the struggles come, and they will, when those struggles happen, we are united in our shared frustrations, and we are able to adjust what we want because we both have a shared vision. If you are going responsibility to you and your family, your partner, your property, and yourself to count the cost. And it does have a cost. So that is me on my way home. I have, it's been a long day. My alarm goes off at 5:45. I'm out of the door at 6:45, 6:30 to 7, and I usually don't get back until 6 to 6:30. Some days run longer like today. And the sun won't be up very long, but I've still got to go through and check my water systems. We've had some rain. I need to go and check and make sure they're good. We've had a coyote coming on our property the last couple days, which has required us, our livestock guardian dog, to be outside full time. We need to set up a lean-to this weekend. I've hurt my finger, so I'm not able to do a whole lot of the work. So Gage, the almost 17-year-old, gets to do some manual labor for me. You know, those are all things. I don't get to go home and sit on the couch and read bonbons. I get to go home, make sure my homestead's good, and then spend time and rest. I do need to rest. I need to prioritize it. But my responsibilities require me work. And that work, if you're going to homestead, it is an abundance of things with which you need to do it right. So this is a long video, so my apologies. I want to thank everybody who's joined our channel. We've had a good uptick recently. Really appreciate you all subscribing to our channel. Appreciate you all joining on our journey. We're not a DIY channel. We're all figuring it out as we go along. I do post when I've done things like building our chicken tractor, building our rabbit tractor that we did. When this summer, when I'm building some of the different apparatuses that we do, our water system collection point is a bunch of totes. I haven't really put a one-on-one, step-by-step guide to how to do it because I'm figuring it out and doing it. And I feel like if I posted a video of me in the process of doing some of these tasks, it would just be a lot of edited out profanity, because I do use profanity when I'm working, and it might be more disheartening than it would be encouraging. So there's nothing better than working on your property, and there's no greater reward than being able to eat your labor. But make no mistake, it's labor and it is a lot of work. So hope y'all are doing well. It's great. I have a car kit. I have it set up so I'm looking over. I'm safe while doing this. Do not be one of those idiots with your phone out while you're driving. It's irresponsible and it's not safe. So thank you very much. Y'all have a great day. Bye.